back to day 16 of our 90 days data analytics training. Honestly, today I want to motivate you guys, but I'm the one that needs motivation today because I am still currently working and I just have to shoot the video because I've been getting a lot of comments on the other episodes and I cannot even slow down at this point. I have to keep going. So drop me a word of encouragement in the comment section. So today we are basically talking about advanced pivot tables. When we talk about advanced pivot tables, we're talking about how you can create a chart and dashboard from the pivot table that you already created. In the last class, we talked about how to create pivot tables and we created some of these pivot tables. Let's get straight into the video. First, what is a dashboard? A dashboard is a visual display of key metrics. Alright, it's just when we create visualization for the key metrics, for the insights that we already gained into the data set. Okay, so what is the steps to creating a dashboard? Before you can create a dashboard, you first have to create pivot tables. So the pivot tables you are creating will be from the business question that your stakeholder gave you. I'm going to give you an example of a business question and we'll try to generate dashboard from it in this video. All right, so you try to create pivot tables. That's the summary table. After creating the pivot table, then you want to create the chart from the pivot table. You want to create different charts from each of the pivot table. You can create multiple pivot tables. It could be 4 that answers the business question. It could be 5 pivot tables that answers the business question. So you want to create charts from each of the pivot table. After you create charts, then you now put all the charts together into one dashboard. And you also want to maintain consistent formatting when you are building your dashboard. Let's take a look at the practical aspect of everything I just said. So these are some of the business questions you could be asked from this data set. The first one says, are high quantity orders associated with a specific shipping mode? We want to know whether there's a particular ship mode that we use most for high quantity or large quantity orders. So now from the question, you have to sit back and see. First, the question is talking about quantity for the orders, and then it's also asking for the ship mode. So basically, the two major things that we need to know from this question is the ship mode and also the quantity. All right. So now you can go to your data set. We have the ship mode right here, and then you can drag it to the rows, right, to put it into categories. And then you can go to the quantity down and drag it to the values. All right, so this will answer the first business question that says, are high quantity orders associated with a specific shipping mode? The answer to that would be yes. High quantity orders are associated to a specific shipping mode, and the shipping mode is standard class. Can you see? Because standard class has the most quantity, so as you can see, standard class is linked to the highest quantity, and that answers the first business question. So this grand total might not be necessary, so I'll just right click on it and then I would remove grand total. Okay, so now that I've removed grand total, I can duplicate this pivot table. So I'll be able to create the next pivot table for the next business question that we have. All right, so the second business question says that which customer segments drive the most revenue in each product category? We basically want to know the customer segment that drives the most revenue, that means the most sales in each product category. That means we are working with 3 columns. We want to know the customer segment, so we are working with the customer segment column. We want to know the one that drives the most revenue, which is the sales, in each product category. So that means we are working with the category column as well. So now that we've duplicated this pivot table, I can remove the ones that I created earlier. All right, so the question says which customer segment drives the most revenue in each product category? So first we want to know which customer segment. So now we are dragging the segment to the rows, right? We have seen the different customer segments here. Drives the most revenue. That means we want to know the customer segments that drive the most sales. You can see that. So now we already know the customer segment that drive the most sales. But they said that they want to know the customer segments that drives the most revenue in each product category. So we are not done. We will now add the product category right in the columns. Here we now have a pivot table showing us the customer segment that drives the most revenue by the product category. Right, so from the pivot table, we can see now that the consumer segment drive the most revenue. If you look at the consumer segment right here, we have 39K here, others have 22, 12K. For the consumer segment in this other product category, we have 36, 363 rather. These other ones are lesser. For this other category, we have this as the top one. So it's okay to say that the consumer segment drives the most revenue, and most of our consumer segments clients buy more of technology products category. They buy. So that's just the interpretation for this business question that we just answered. And I can also remove the grand total like I did earlier. And now we are going to move to the next business question that says, which region contributes most to the company's profitability? So we want to know what region are we making the most profits, to know which one contributes more to the company's profitability. All right. So what we are just going to do is duplicate this pivot table. All right. Let me drag this out. So we are working with region and we are working with profit. Okay, so we can drag region to the rows. All right, you can see we have 4 regions, and then we can look for profit and drag it to the values. All right, so you can see that it looks like the west region, or let's sort it first before we conclude. Sort largest to smallest. Okay, so you can see that the west region contributes most to the company's profitability. After the west region, we have the east region. So the top 2 regions that contribute to the company's profitability is the west and the east region. And that answers the third business question. The fourth business question are sales and profit seasonals. All right, and when is the peak selling period? I'm just going to add this as something that we call slicer or timeline. That's when I'm going to answer this particular one. All right, so now I told you that before you can create a dashboard, we first have to create pivot tables. We have pivot tables now. From the pivot table, we have to create charts, and this chart is what we are going to compile together to give us a dashboard. All right, so now I'm going to click on this first pivot table. I'll come here to pivot table analyze, and then you're going to see pivot chart right here. I'll click on pivot chart, and it's going to suggest the appropriate pivot chart that fits the data set that I'm working with. If this is a bar chart, remember when I explained to you the different types of charts and when to use them. You can go back to that note if you can't remember. I said that bar chart is used for comparison. This is looking good. If you want to explore other charts, you can come here to see. And I said line chart is best for time series data. This is not a time series data, but you can use it if you want, but it is best for time series data. So this is a pie chart, this is a bar chart. You can use any chart that you want. So I'm just going to use this one. I'm going to say okay. Okay, so now that we have the chart, I want it arranged accordingly. I want the tallest bar to be here, followed by the second one, followed by the third one. All I'll just do is come right here and sort from largest to smallest, and then it's going to rearrange my chart. This total is not necessary, so I'm just going to delete it. And whenever you create a chart, you always have to remember that your chart should have a title. So what is this chart talking about? We are talking about basically the shipping mode by quantity. Rename with total quantity by ship mode. So then I can just hide this, and then hide this. It is not necessary. Okay, so I can decide to add X label and Y label. All right, how can I do that? If you click this plus button, you can see axis titles. All right, if I click on it, it's going to bring the axis title and I can name it accordingly. All right, and if you feel like you don't want your chart to have chart title, you can uncheck this box. If you uncheck it, it's not going to have chart title. If you want to label your charts with the actual figure, you can check this data label. It's going to check it. If you want to have a table, data table, that at the bottom of your chart, you can just check this data table. All right, if you want to have error bars, can you see all those error bars line? You can check it. If you want to have legends like that total I removed, you can check it. If you want to have trend lines, you can check this box. What I want to add is the axis title. So for this place, I'm going to call it quantity. And for this other axis, this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis, just in case you need that in the future. So for the x-axis, I'm going to name it the ship mode. All right. So we have labeled it, like we have the chart title, we have the x and y axis label. We also have the data label showing the actual figure. If you don't want the actual figure, you can remove it. You can remove the data label. And if you want to check, if you want it to be inside the chart or you want to be inside the base, you can see different ways you can do it. Remember that you always want to keep your chart as simple as possible. So anything that keeps it simple, you want to do that. So things you can do is, let's say I don't like how big this font looks, I can reduce the font. So I can click on just this and come to the home section. It's currently at 9. I can type 6 to change it to 6. Can you see that it reduced the font? You can change it here if you want to make it bold, if you want to change the color, everything like that, you can do it right here. Remember, this is for the background color. Can you see it added the background color, and this is for the text color. All right, so another thing that you can do when creating charts is you can click here to change the chart style. Can you see we have different chart style that you can explore. Now we've created the first chart for this pivot table. So this chart is for this pivot table. For this second chart, I'm just going to repeat the process. Go to pivot table, analyze, pivot chart, and then I'm gonna, so you can see that suggested a chart for us for the sake of this tutorial, and I'll click OK. So you want to repeat the process of, so you have to leave this legend because that is where they are going to know that, oh, blue color represents furniture, orange color represents office supplies, and the light ash color represents technology. So the third pivot table, we can also create the chart. Same process, let's do that quickly. So let me just use a different kind of chart for this one. So let's use a pie chart, and then I'm going to click OK. Okay, so you can see that when I used pie chart, the category is not much. It's just 4 categories I have. I didn't use it for 6 or 7 or 10 categories. If I use it for 10 categories, the line might be too close and I might not even see the difference clearly. All right, so you can also format your chart accordingly, right? The way we have discussed for this first one. So after creating all your charts, I like to create different worksheets for different things I'm doing. So this first one is representing the one for the data sets where I have my data. This second one is where I have my pivot tables. I'll create another chart for my charts, for the charts I just created. So I'm going to move in all my charts here. So now I can remove, okay, don't let me remove the grid line yet. I'm still going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this, Control X to cut, and then I'm going to just put it here. Control V to paste. Why is it not pasting? Okay, so I'll do that for the 3 charts that I have here. Control X, then come and paste it here. Then let's do the same thing for the third one. Control X, then you come and paste it somewhere here. So after pasting it like this, I can now do the actual formatting I want to do. All right, so after doing the formatting I want to do, then I can now create my dashboard. Okay, so let's assume that I've done this exact formatting for the rest of the charts. All right, I don't want this video to be too long. That's why I'm kind of speeding it up, but I just want you to have an idea. We're still going to work on a full project in Excel where we are going to go through data cleaning, data analysis, visualization, everything together in one video. All right, but this is just to give you the background knowledge that we'll build on as at that time. So if you want to build a dashboard now, I'm going to create another worksheet and I'm going to call it dashboard. For the dashboard worksheets now, first you want to click here to highlight the entire data cell. When I click there, so I'll go to the page layout in the ribbon tab, and then I'm going to remove grid lines. You can see right here in the sheet options we have grid lines. The view, I'm going to uncheck it, so it removes all those line. Now once you remove all this line, you're ready to create a dashboard. There are thousands of dashboard designs that you can actually create. If you go online, you can see dashboard, gain inspiration from there. So for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to create a very simple dashboard. So let's say this place I want to have my title. All I can do is just highlight it, come to the home tab, and then I want to come here to the merge. So I want to merge and center this place that I just highlighted, and then I'll come and give it a color. Okay, let's say I give it this color, right? So when I give it this color, I want to add my chart title. So to add your chart title, you can actually create a text box first. Come here to the insert tab and come here to text. Inside text, there is text box. So I'm going to draw a text box inside this shape right here. So here I want to type in my superstore dashboard. And I know you're already wondering that this white under it is not making it look good. Okay, so we can remove that by clicking on this text box. Then you come to the shape format. Under the shape format, you see shape fill, and you just change it to no fill so that it removes the fill. And also, I don't want any outline, so I'll do no outline. So now I can just come here to the home tab to change the color for my text. If I want, let me change it to like white color. I want to increase the font size to like 24, and then I want to make it bold. So now I can decide to centralize it, add it at the center right here. And why did I type only superstore? Okay, superstore dashboard. Okay, so now we have superstore dashboard right here looking pretty. Okay, so after we've created the chart title, if you want to add the company's logo, you can add it somewhere around here. All right, I'm going to still explain that. All right, so let's say we now want to start putting our charts in. There are different ways to do that. You can just put you can either put your chart on a plain background, or you can create shapes. I can come here into insert, and then under illustration you're going to see shapes. If you want to add a picture, you can click on this insert picture and insert a picture, whether the one you are going to download online or from your PC. But I'm doing shapes right now, and then you're going to see different kind of shapes that you can put in. Let's say I want to put this shape, so I can just draw a shape like this. So we have three charts, right? So I can just put one here, right? I can change the color to this actual color. I can come back here to change the color to this color that I used. I can duplicate this, just put it by the side. Control D, I'm using the short code to duplicate it. Okay, so I can have this one right beside this, and I can duplicate this again and bring it down here to put in the third chart. Okay, so I can just bring it like this. All right, and we just created like a container for the three charts that we have. Now I can come in I can bring in the charts one after the other. I can just copy this, come to the dashboard section to paste it. All right, so once I paste it, oh, that was a mistake. I can now bring it in here. Once I bring it in here, you can see that it's not looking very good. So I have to do some formatting. Okay, so part of the formatting I'm going to do is first remove this white background that I have here. So while selecting this chart, I'll go to the format section to remove the fill color. Remember, the fill color is that white. But after removing the fill color, you can see that the chart itself is now blending with the original color. So I can change all of these colors. The text color, I can select it, just change it to white. So it pops up. You can see I can make it bold. I can click on this one, change it to white. So I'm going to do that quickly right now so we don't take too much of our time. And now it looks a little bit better, but you can see we have shape outline. So I also want to come back here to remove the shape outline. All right, so after removing the shape outline, it looks something like this. Last thing I want to do is change the color for these bars because it's still blue and it's blending with the background color. So I can come here while I've selected the bar, so I can come here to change the color. Let's see what we want to change it to. Let me see how this looks. Okay, see, this looks better. It's still popping out. And then I can just try to expand the chart to fill the container. And I said creating a container first is optional. You can just decide to put it on that plain white background and not remove it. So this is just the formatting we've done. If you want to reduce any size, I already told you how to do it and all of that. All right. So now that we are done with the first one, I'll just go ahead to apply the same process. This is not the best dashboard that we can get. Remember, the first thing is I'm stressed. I'm so stressed. This is like almost midnight my time. I just closed from work, so stressed and tired, but I just want to complete this video today so I could move on to another video tomorrow. All right, so let me just quickly duplicate, do the same thing for this other chart and bring them inside here, and I'll show you what it looks like. So this is just what I was able to come up with. This is not the best dashboard I would create, but I mean, like, it is what it is. Right? It's not looking too flashy. If you can see, very simple and concise. You see that I did not add chart title to this, forgive me, but you can just follow the same pattern to add chart title to your own. I've added to this. I was rushing to because I just want to sleep right now. So we can also add a picture to this place, like I said earlier, and then I can add a link to the picture that takes me to a particular page. Also, I said we can add filter to the data, like slicer and also timelines. Right, so to add the images, I'm going to go to insert. Under insert, you can see we have pictures right here, and then I can insert picture from this device. So let me just look for a picture I could use. I'm going to insert it. All right, this is the picture right here. So whatever the company's logo is, you're just going to put it here, or anywhere. You can just put it anywhere. I'm just showing you. So once you put the logo there, it's going to look like a logo. You can just right click on the logo and then you can add a link to it. All right, so once you add a link to it, you want to say that it should take them to a existing file or web page. So here is where you're going to put the address for that existing website. So my fashion brand's website is uniqueexcel.com. All right, so I'm just going to put it there. So whenever we click that picture, it's going to take us there. So I'm going to say okay. All right, so let's click out and then come to the picture. You see, it's now bringing uniqueexcel.com. All right, and it's opened my fashion brand website. This is what it looks like. It's still like under construction. So these are some of the shoots my friend did for me while I was still in school, and I was very, very serious with my fashion brand. But now I'm so unserious, and you can see I'm here to add prices. It's still currently under construction. Yeah, so that is what happens when you click the logo from the dashboard. It's going to take them to the company's website. All right, so let's just say we want to add slicer now. We want to slice this by the product category. So when we are saying the total quantity for the ship mode, then we can say, okay, for this product, what's the total quantity for each ship mode? For this product, what is this? So something like that. So then we can come back. You might have created your slicer when you were creating your pivot table. It's very fine like that. Come here to the insert tab, and then I'll click on slicer under filters. I said we should use category, product category, right? So I'll check it and say okay. It's going to give me this containing the different product categories. Because I clicked on this pivot table while creating it, it's going to be attached to this pivot table. Look at it now. If I click on office supplies, can you see that it's now showing me the quantity for only office supplies? If I click on technology, the value changes. If I click on furniture, the value changes. So I can remove the filter. All right, so if I want to apply this filter to the other charts, you can see we have other pivot tables. All I'll do is right click on this particular slicer and then click on report connections. So when I report connections, you can see that it's only pivot table one that is checked, and that's the one that is currently attached to it, that whenever I filter it, it's going to filter it out. So if I want to apply it to other charts, you don't have to apply one slicer to all of your pivot table. You can apply one slicer to two pivot table depending on the insight you're trying to gain, right? So but for example, let's just say I'm going to apply it to the other pivot tables, and I'll say okay. So now if I click on office supplies, can you see that everything filtered out by office supplies? If I click on technology, everything filters out by technology. Report connection again, and I'll remove the second pivot table. So when I click on, I'll leave the second one. So if I click here now, can you see that nothing is changing in this second one? So that's how you can add slicer. So this slicer now, I can just press Ctrl X to cut it. I can come here to just paste it here. All right, so when I paste it here, if I click on furniture now, you can see that it's automatically applying to the chart just because everything is connected. We created our pivot table from the data set, we created our chart from the pivot table, and our dashboard right here is created from the chart. So everything is connected, and that is how it works. So because I did not plan this dashboard where I should have created a section somewhere here for the filter, so I can just bring the filter in there, but I'm so sorry about this. Next tutorial where we'll try to answer business questions, clean the data, analyze it, and visualize it for the Excel tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use timeline. All right, so make sure you practice everything you have learned today so it sticks to your memory. All right, I hope you enjoyed today's class. It's been a long ride, and I encourage you to practice everything you have learned. It's been a long day for me. I need to get to sleep right now. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and bye for now.